Here we go. Let's get to it. Once again, this is Carcino for Life, and I'd like to thank every last one of you guys who subscribe to the page. Definitely, if you're not getting your notifications, check to make sure that if you have mobile, that you're able to get notifications on your phone. Make sure it's turned on or you won't get them. Make sure that you are subscribed and you hit that notification bell. And without further ado, we get to it. This is the truth behind the beef between Michael Jackson and Jermaine Jackson. Now, Jermaine is the oldest brother of the Jackson 5. And we all know the history of the Jackson 5. Joe was a stickler for the rules, of course, and creating this band was his idea. And so far, when they first started, Jermaine was like light years talented, the voice, the lead, he had the look, dance, could move. So naturally, it was only naturally that he would be the one that would be selected to be the lead singer. And when they'll do their shows or rehearsal, Michael was young. And even at a young age, Michael had all these moves and this energy, and he just wanted to be with his brothers. And, Marlon was in the band, and Marlon was the closest to Michael, and Michael got of age. At 6, they knew he had a golden voice. And they was like, we got to record this kid. And he's just, you couldn't help but fall in love with him. This is just an adorable kid. Joe knew right away. Record Michael as lead. Michael is the face of the Jackson 5. So the change was made from Jermaine to Michael, to Jermaine's behest. He did not like this move whatsoever. So they became the second lead vocalist. So some songs Jermaine lead, like I'll Be There and I Want You Back. Jermaine is on the lead on those songs. And a lot of people don't even understand or even know because they're so called to Michael. Michael got the credit anyway for everything. So all people here is Michael. And basically that was it. He was the face. Even though Jermaine had an album out and everything, it was always about, let's keep the focus on Michael. And even back then, when they had the fallout with Joe Jackson, and it wasn't always Joe's fault with Michael. And Jermaine always felt that Michael got his way. And a lot of ways he played the position to get his way. Did a lot of selfish acts. One act in particular that we could think of is that he was about to pull out of a show. Just acting out. They had to bribe him with ice cream and get him some type of toy he wanted just so he would be able to perform. And Jermaine was ticked off because Jermaine is like, you're not even thinking about Marlon, Jackie, me, Tito. You're not thinking about us. You're thinking selfishly about you. And he was the big brother and Michael was the little brother. So he was giving him heed and telling him how dangerous these habits were. And I'm foreshadowing this moment because this moment comes back to play many years later. So at this point, they're all doing their own things individually. They having a little bit of a break. Jermaine put out a solo album It did okay. Didn't really break the bank at Motown, but Berry Gordy is, he's got his arm around Michael, trying to treat Michael, and Joe is feeling like the divide and feeling that Berry Gordy is trying to manipulate and pull Michael over to his side, and that's a Berry Gordy thing he does. Marvin Gaye is married to Berry Gordy's sister. Berry Gordy's got a baby with Diana Ross. Everybody was connected. And Jermaine Jackson went and married Berry Gordy's daughter against Joe Jackson's advice not to get caught into the trap. So when they went into negotiations, Joe Jackson wanted more control and freedom, which he wasn't going to have at Motown. So Joe, the smartest thing he ever did was move the Jacksons over to Epic Records. And Epic Records has an Epic CBS deal. So when they had the contract CBS Radio, and they signed Michael Jackson, and then they signed the Jacksons, it was the start of an era. Because now they can create and go in different and be creative and not have to be in the box that Motown and Berry Gordy kept them in. Because Michael's like, I have ideas for music, and I know that he's not probably going to be with it. Jermaine was all about staying with, why are we leaving the Gordys? I want to stay with the Gordys. They've been nice to me, because they treated Jermaine like he was a star. Treatment he didn't get at home, and it's all about Michael. And here he feels like, I'm loved here, so I'm leaving the group. I'm just going to stay a solo artist. So he went against and defied Joe, went and did his own thing. So Joe was angry that Jermaine left. You're leaving your brothers, and you're going to leave your brothers out here like that. So, and Randy, he's like, Randy ain't ready. Randy, I'm ready. No, you're not. Jermaine, you better come back home right now. He's like, I'm a grown man. Which he was, and there it is. Jermaine and his wife was doing their own thing. Berry Gordy's daughter, and they were all one big family, and they were going to bankroll Jermaine. They was like, don't worry, Jermaine, we're here to back you up. So the Jacksons were split for the first time. Now, they go about bringing Randy into the group, and now they are the Jacksons. And as the Jacksons, things were a little bit different as the Jacksons. With Randy in the group, Michael was in the group, but kind of not in the group. Michael was more focused on his situations more than anything. Like he wanted to create his own album and do his own things. So the Off the Wall album comes out, and Off the Wall was like something new, disco-ish tech type album, and people love it. I mean, absolutely loved it. So when it dropped, it was like, okay, we moved on and graduated from the pop bubblegum, what they call bubblegum music, from Motown, and now we're growing into establishing this serious artist. She's Out of My Life, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Rock With You, all of these hits. There's a lot of people that believe that this was Michael's best album. Yeah, I still get people who say, Off the Wall don't get the credit it deserves, man. I'm like, all right. Michael got screwed out that Grammy. So, anyway, Michael's album, and because of Joe securing the deal that he did, and this deal was advised, a lot of it, by Don King. But he secured a higher royalty rate at that time, which was 37% of the wholesale profits of his album. At that time, artists weren't even seeing 37%. They were seeing maybe a dime off the album, getting 10 cents a record. Michael Jackson was getting 37% of the wholesale album's profits. And that was something unheard of at the time. But that was the deal that was negotiated through CBS. Now, this is how Michael got his money so fast. Because with all of these things going on, Michael is having a very lucrative career now as a solo artist, while Jermaine is still kind of, he's making his records. Sorry about that. But he's having a little tough go. Because the things that Joe was talking about were showing up. The same things he was telling people was showing up on the scene. He was like, they're going to keep you in a bubble. They're going to keep making you do cover songs, and you're going to be stuck. He didn't believe it. He said, nope. I'm staying with Berry Gordy. I'm staying with, the system and what they're doing. So Jermaine came out with all of these different albums. I mean, he came out with like 4 records, like back to back to back. Because his first album he came with after they split up, he was all mad. So he was, hi, my name is Jermaine. I'm like, you've already made an album called Jermaine. And the only album he made that really made a hit is the Stevie Wonder song that was written called Let's Get Serious. That was a Stevie Wonder song that he gave to Jermaine Jackson. And it became his biggest hit ever as a solo artist. Let's get serious. Let's get serious. Let's get serious and fall in love. So that was a Stevie song. So he really didn't get the credit he deserved on that because it was a Stevie song. And that was like his biggest charting song ever, was Let's Get Serious. And after all these records, he started to see. He got the picture. And went all the way to, what was that? Let Me Tickle Your Fancy. That he said, you know what? I'm out. I mean, they had him almost like Little Richard in the 1950s or the 60s on the album cover. I'm like, why do you have Jermaine Jackson looking like Little Richard on the cover, driving a old 1939 car? It's like, this is not the way to go. Then you got Devo on there. It's just a bad album completely. So he left Motown, told his wife, look, I'm leaving Berry Gordy. I gotta leave. I can't stay. So he went and joined his family. Went back and joined the Jackson 5. Michael was happy because now, he had been basically estranged from a lot of the family. So now that he's back in the fold, they pick up where everything left off. Him and Michael was tight. It was a brotherhood again. Everybody was brothers. They working together, and now, Jermaine's back in the group, and they're the Jacksons, and Michael was there, and he's like got the Thriller album coming out, and Thriller is just going to levels that no record album had ever did. And Jermaine's like, I'm working on my album at the same. They're working on the album at the same time, and he signed this deal with Clive Davis at Arista Records, because Clive was like, "You're Michael Jackson's brother," and Michael Jackson just sold like 1 billion records. There's got to be something left in you. So Michael Jackson came and got on one of the songs, got his brother to do a duet with him, and that's all he needed. The album almost sold 1 million records just off that alone. And Jermaine don't get credit for what he was doing with at this time, bringing out a young Whitney Houston. They was developing Whitney at the time, and he did a lot of production on her first album and writing on Whitney's first album. So all of these things were going on. And Michael and Jermaine, they were brothers. There was no problems. Nothing. Right? Then things start to take place. Michael's becoming huge. He's got Quincy Jones. They do the Bad album. And after the Bad album, things started to take a different turn. When the Bad album comes out, Jermaine album is coming out, and his albums are not really doing anything. And Michael's not really looking to get on the records with Jermaine. And they had to make Michael do the Victory Tour when he had the Bad album out, and he didn't even want to do that. And they was like, look, the brothers had the Victory album, do it for them. They need this tour. So Michael did his tour in combination with his brothers and called it the Victory Tour. So while Michael has the biggest album in the world, he's doing this basically Chitlin circuit of a tour, which he really shouldn't have been doing. So after the tour was over, they got paid a lot of money for it. And we all know the fire incident and what happened to Michael's hair and all this stuff for the Pepsi, whatever. Now, Jermaine is trying to get Michael to work on his album. This is like right after say 88, 89, he had the Don't Take It Personal album coming out. Michael didn't get a chance to get on the record, and he wasn't going to get on the record. At this point, Michael is not Michael anymore. Michael is the most famous person in the world. So Michael's working on movies. He's touring his album. And this is like the Bad album sold for like 2 years. They got like 10 singles off of the record. It's crazy. It's next level, next spectrum. So you don't even get involved in that. Next thing you know, music's changing now. Just like in the Bad album, rap is becoming more dance, more pop. The 90s are here. It's a new era. So what could solidify that more with Michael? Michael's looking like, okay, people are like, what's going on with Michael? What is he going to do? When is his next record? Michael deal was up, and he was up for renegotiation on his deal with CBS. And Mike was got one of the richest contracts in basically the world at that time. He was the richest artist in the world, the contract, and it was right after she just got her contract. Janet got a massive contract. Michael followed up her contract, and he wanted to wait until her contract was done, because he didn't want to interfere with what number she was going to get, because he knew his was going to be pretty high. And I think she got like 65 million or something like that, or 40 something. Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but she got a large number on hers, and Michael just came and dwarfs hers, and he's like, I didn't want to have mine overshadow her moment, so I waited and told them to hold off until they post Janet numbers. So Janet is surpassed Jermaine. So now Jermaine's feeling like, I got to get back in the game. My baby sister has just passed me. It's her and Michael. Janet is ruling. My album ain't selling. She comes out with Control, sells all these millions of records. What am I doing wrong? So Jermaine goes back to the drawing board. And at this time, he's with Sally Richardson. He gets a divorce from the wife, and he's got Sally on his side, dating Sally Richardson. She was the super hot woman. If you don't know who Sally is, shame on you. And she's the lady that was in Low Down Dirty Shame. We all love that movie. She's the crazy ex-girlfriend / homicidal mistress of Shame. So anyway, that's Sally. So Jermaine is getting ready to he's at a party, and he's like looking for producers right now who's hot. And at that time, the guy that was hot was Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley had Rex in Effect. He had, I think, Rump Shaker was probably, I don't know if Rump Shaker was even out at that time, but he had Guy. Guy was out at that time, and Peace of My Love, and all of the songs that they put out together. And they had this new hip music, like they called it the New Jack Swing. It had dance. It made you want to get up and move, and it was what was happening in the hood. So Jermaine was like, there was hot right now, and I want to work with Teddy Riley. So he's sitting there, he's talking with Teddy, and they're at the party, and Teddy Riley and Jermaine's girlfriend, which was Sally Richardson at the time, they're talking and conversating, and Jermaine was conversating with some other people and left Sally and Teddy Riley speaking to one another. And next thing you know, Teddy Riley was taking her home, and Jermaine didn't even know she had left the party, and she was with Teddy Riley. And that was his date. So from that moment on, Jermaine was ticked off with Teddy Riley. I mean, it was really a bad thing. And about 2 weeks later, Michael was looking for him. Michael Jackson was like calling around looking for producers. He was ready to start, looking and going to make his new album. And he wanted Teddy Riley to be the guy to do the album. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It was, yeah. So Teddy, told him about the situation, and, a little bit like, yeah, your brother's a little upset. And I mean, Jermaine was livid when he heard Michael was working with Teddy Riley. and he was trying to reach Michael, and Michael wouldn't take his calls. Michael wouldn't really speak to Jermaine because he was like, well, Michael's working, he's busy, you got to make an appointment, he'll call you. I got to make an appointment to talk to my brother? This is ridiculous. He's like, he's busy, his time is, he's like, tell him don't work with Teddy Riley. He didn't care. Michael did not care. Michael's like, that's just Jermaine. Jermaine's being Jermaine. He'll get over it. We're here to make music. You make good music. You're a great producer. I love your work. Let's make good music. So Michael goes in with Teddy, and all Teddy Riley songs he had at that time was about Sally Richardson. Remember the time? All those songs he used her as his muse when he was writing these songs, and they're all on the Dangerous album. So that's weird because she was his motivation for making the music, and Michael is singing these songs, and they're really about Sally Richardson. So it's really funny. So after this goes, and Dangerous goes to do all these records and all this success, Jermaine Jackson, after the Don't Take It Personal album, decides, you know what, this is it. I'm leaving the label. I'm tired of Clyde Davis. I'm tired of Arista. This album is not being promoted right. He blamed everybody on the record. But he was mostly mad because he couldn't get a verse from Michael or duet with Michael on this album. So Arista was, ready to part ways anyway with Jermaine. So they figured he's just not going to pop. His time is come and gone. So Jermaine didn't believe that. Not for one bit. And decided to sign with a new deal / Arista. Something to give him a new face. And it was a new group that was coming around. New talent. He didn't need Teddy Riley. He had L.A. Reid and Babyface. LaFace. So he joined the LaFace family. So everything was looking good over there, and they were like, oh, they're going to revamp, Jermaine Jackson. It's like he kind of has that old look of, Babyface, and you can have Babyface write the records. This thing is going to pop. Then, boom, there's a call. Michael gets a call, and sure enough, they have Michael Jackson has been trying to work with he was trying to work with L.A. Reid. He decided to sing on one of Babyface songs that Babyface wrote. Michael went and sung out the lyrics, everything. So L.A. Reid, he's in there. So Jermaine loses it when he finds out Michael was hanging out with Babyface and L.A. Reid had them out at Neverland Ranch. He's losing it. So he goes in the office of L.A. Reid and goes berserk. This dude, I'm sick of this. I'm making a song right now and I'm finna air all this out. He's always trying to steal my producers. He only cares about himself. He is so selfish. I'm sick of my brother. He's been like this forever. And he just forgot. He doesn't know. He's forgotten himself. All this fame has gone to his head. I'm ready to speak. I'm ready to make my song. And yep. L.A. Reid, and they went and told him, they said, Michael, Jermaine's mad. He's saying, like, if we work with you, he's going to leave the label. And we don't want to lose Jermaine like that. And we definitely don't want to offend you or anything. He's like, well, Jermaine's under contract, right? Yeah. Well, he has to honor his contract. So, Jermaine can't do that. He'll get over it. You know, he'll just get over it. Let's work. So, they're like, all right. Next thing you know, Jermaine wasn't letting it go. He's ready to lace a track and lay it down and wanted to be the lead song called Word to the Bad. Word to the Bad was recorded, and it should have never did it because it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. This destroyed L.A. Reid and Babyface's chance to work with Michael Jackson. The fact that they would go and produce a song like this with Jermaine to come at Michael. And even though he's on your label, you just made a career suicidal move. That's how Michael looked at it. So Jermaine cuts this track, Word to the Bad. And, oh man, the first version was so brutal. They said, I can't do this. We cannot put this out. I'm sorry. We just can't do this, Jermaine. You're going to have to, you know what? Let us work on this. So they brought in TLC, Left Eye, and they brought in T-Boz. So Left Eye and T-Boz helped make a diss record with Michael Jackson called Word to the Bad. Yep, that's true. TLC. You put them out to the world like this on a song that's dissing Michael Jackson with words like, I gave you love, you gave your love, I thought we never part, you said you love me, then you left me with a broken heart. And what they did was TLC came in and they made it more about a woman. You know, when they start working with the song, they said, we got to make this song more about him talking about a lady. So it could be relative instead of attacking Michael Jackson. You know, we don't want to draw that conclusion. We know what the song is talking about, but we don't need, you know, the people to know exactly who we're talking about. Some people can just like the song, period. So let's just work on making it a good song. Then the lyrics it goes to talking about like it's a woman, and it just starts turning. You forgot about where we started from. You only think about what you want. You don't care about how it's done. You only think about your throne. Be right or be it wrong. It ain't about your word. It ain't about the things you do. If you don't care, I don't care. 'Cause you thinking about you. If it ain't about you taking my pie, you been taking it for a long time. If you don't care, I don't care. Well, I ain't thinking about you. Word up. Word to the bad. Once you was made, you changed your ways. Even told me lies. You know, it's just a bad song, but he was just mad. Could not trust you. Still, I love you. My mind worried over time. You know I tried to be there for you. I cared for you. It was, man, this was crazy, 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 crazy song. Crazy song. Word to the Bad. So Word to the Bad, even the edited version is getting ready to come out. It came out for one day on the radio. Like, here's the diss record. to Michael Jackson called Word to the Bad. Bzz. What happened? Where is that record? I don't know. I'm clicking it. What's going on? Word to the Bad. Where is it? I don't know. The record vanished. The record was destroyed. It was vanished off every radio station in the world. Nobody would dare play that song ever again on the radio. Completely dead radio silence everywhere that played that song. It was like, oh, what just happened? We're having technical difficulties. That was power. When Michael said something had to go, it had to go. Then Michael cut off. I'm like, I don't know what Jermaine was thinking at the time, but Michael was paying the bills for Jermaine's house. I'm like, dude, he's paying the rent, like the lights, everything else. He just shut Jermaine off, like she shut off. So it was like everything just power off over there, Jermaine. What? Why everybody else like working and not mine? It was like, well, Mr. Jackson cut you off. Here's your bill. You gotta pay it on your own. He cut me off. I was just trying to ask him a question, like, why I gotta make an appointment to talk to my brother? I didn't mean for him to do all this. This is unnecessary. So I don't know what Jermaine was thinking at the time, but if a man is paying your rent where you stay, you shut up and let the man pay the rent and let him do what he want to do. And if he's paying your bills, then, you know, he just pulled a plug on the song and showed you his power at that time. You know, since then, I think they had come to a realization after being apart for a while that it's stupid. The whole beef thing is really dumb. And then when Michael went through his problems, Jermaine was right there. The whole family, everybody came together. So, you know, happy birthday to Mike, and definitely Jermaine loves him, still loves him, and you know, they're like America's first family. You know, they came up on the TV shows and right in front of your screen, singing those cherubic songs. And now, look at us now. Right? So, with that being said, I'm out. Thank you guys who stuck around as long, you know, to hear the video. I appreciate it. Don't forget to click the link in the description box, hit up the Streamlab, and leave us a message there. Or you can just hit me up on the Cash App. The name is Carcino. Thanks for donating to the page. Okay. I'm out.